clock on our studio wall still reads midnight, but outside, the air carries a hint of change. Welcome back to Radio Insomnia, where time stands still, yet the world turns on. I'm your host, Alex, keeping you company through another sleepless night. Tonight, dear listeners, we're exploring the concept of seasons in a place where they don't exist. Our little desert town may be immune to the passage of time, but memories of autumn leaves and cooling breezes still whisper through our collective consciousness. Our first track tonight is Harvest Moon Sonata by the Timeless Quartet. Close your eyes and let the melody paint a picture of golden fields and lengthening shadows. As the last notes fade, I'm reminded of a message we received from Lisa in Seattle. She writes, "Alex, your show makes me feel less alone during my night shifts at the hospital. The other night, I caught the scent of fallen leaves as I was leaving work at dawn. For a moment, I felt like I was in your timeless desert, where every season exists at once." Thank you, Lisa. Your words remind us that even in the most sterile environments, memory and imagination can transport us. Do you hear that, listeners? The wind chimes outside our studio window are stirring. It's a sound that always makes me think of change, of transitions. In a place where the weather never shifts, these chimes become our seasons, marking the passage of time in their own subtle way. Our next piece captures this feeling of gentle transition. Here's Chimes of Change by Ethereal Echoes. is a curious thing, isn't it? In the dark hours of the night, it can feel both endless and fleeting. Here in our little town, we exist in a permanent midnight, yet the world beyond continues its cycle. It seems we have a caller. You're on Radio Insomnia.
Hi Alex, this is Mike from Albuquerque. I've been listening to your show for months now, and I've always wondered, does it ever rain in your town?
Mike, an excellent question. Rain. You know, I can't recall ever seeing rain here, but sometimes, in the deepest part of the night, I swear I can smell petrichor, that earthly scent after a rainstorm. Perhaps it's a memory, or perhaps it's the desert dreaming of water. Thank you for your call, Mike. For Mike, and all of you out there wondering about the weather in a place where it never changes, here's Petrichor Dreams by the Night Gardeners. As we drift through this endless autumn night together, I invite you to share your own memories of changing seasons. Call in or send us a message. In this timeless space, every leaf that's ever fallen, every harvest moon that's ever risen, exists simultaneously. While we wait for your calls, let's listen to the sound of leaves rustling in a non-existent breeze. Close your eyes and imagine the colors: deep reds, bright oranges, warm golds. We'll be right back after this brief message from our sponsors, The Void and the endless expanse of stars above. Welcome back to Radio Insomnia, where every night is autumn, winter, spring, and summer all at once. As we continue our journey through this endless night, I'm reminded of a poem by T.S. Eliot. For last year's words belong to last year's language, and next year's words await another voice. In our timeless town, perhaps all words, all voices exist simultaneously. What do you think, dear listeners? Call in and share your thoughts on time, language, and the changing of seasons. It seems we have another caller. You're on Radio Insomnia.
Hello, Alex. This is Sarah from Portland. Your show always makes me think about the nature of memory. In your town where time doesn't pass, do memories fade, or do they become more vivid with each revisit?
Sarah, what a profound question. In a place where the present is eternal, perhaps memories are like the stars above us, always there, but sometimes obscured by the clouds of our consciousness. They don't fade, but our perspective on them might shift, like the shadows cast by a forever setting sun. Thank you for that thought-provoking question, Sarah. It's inspired our next track. Here's Memories in Amber by the Timeless Collective.
We painted dreams with amber fading light, wild nights, capturing moments through a lens. Whispers in the haze, we're time travelers together, time travelers together. And in this amber glow, our memories unfold. We drift through the echoes in an amber glow. Beneath the shooting stars, we watch the world in silence, tracing scars of constellations. Time wore no disguise, we're relics of the twilight, relics of the twilight. And in this amber glow, our memories unfold. We drift through the echoes in an amber glow. Lost in reverie, amber pools we dive. In the shadows of our lives, we find we're still alive. And in this amber glow, our memories unfold. We drift through the echoes in an amber glow.
As the last notes of Memories in Amber fade away, I'm struck by how music itself is a kind of memory, a moment captured in melody and rhythm, replayed but never quite the same, twice. Even here in our changeless desert, each listening experience is unique. Now let's take a moment to appreciate the sounds of our surroundings. Listen closely, and you might hear the whisper of sand shifting in a wind that never quite arrives, the creak of weathered wood that never truly ages, the distant call of a bird that's forever migrating. In the outside world, autumn is a time of harvest, of gathering and preparing for the winter ahead. Here in our timeless oasis, what do we harvest? Perhaps it's moments like these, shared solitude, quiet reflection, the companionship of distant voices in the night. Our next piece explores this idea of an eternal harvest. Here's Reaping Starlight by Nocturnal Fields. bask in the afterglow of reaping starlight, I'm reminded of a message we received earlier from John in Chicago. He writes, "Alex, listening to your show feels like stepping into a daily painting. Clocks melting, reality bending. It's disorienting, but in the most beautiful way." Thank you, John. Your words paint a vivid picture. Indeed, if Salvador Dali had created a radio station, perhaps it would have been something like Radio Insomnia, a place where the surreal becomes familiar, and the familiar becomes surreal. Speaking of the surreal, it's time for our nightly sky watch. Step outside if you can, dear listeners, and look up at the vast expanse above. In a world of constant change, the stars offer a comforting constancy. Yet, even they, unchanging as they may seem, tell a story of cosmic change on a scale beyond our comprehension. Tonight's sky is a canvas of deep indigo, scattered with pinpricks of silver light. The Milky Way stretches across the zenith like a river of stardust, and there, just above the horizon, a shooting star streaks past. A fleeting moment of brilliance in the eternal night. As we witness this cosmic dance, let's listen to a piece that captures the vast, silent beauty of the night sky. Here's Celestial Whispers by Ethereal Echoes. As Celestial Whispers fades into the night, we find ourselves once again in the quiet of our studio, surrounded by the vast, timeless desert. Remember, dear listeners, that no matter where you are, no matter what season you're in, we're all under the same sky, sharing this moment together. We'll be right back after this brief message from our sponsors. The infinite possibilities of dreams and the comforting embrace of the void. Welcome back to Radio Insomnia, where the night is always young and time is but a gentle suggestion. As our timeless night begins to whisper hints of dawn, we find ourselves at that liminal moment once again, dear listeners. The hour when the stars begin to fade, yet the sun still slumbers below the horizon. In our little desert town, it's a moment that stretches into eternity. Before we bring our broadcast to a close, let's take one last musical journey together. This piece captures the essence of transition, the delicate balance between ending and beginning. Here's Aurora's Lullaby by the Twilight Ensemble. As the final notes of Aurora's Lullaby fade into the ether, I'm reminded of something a wise listener once told me. Every ending is just a new beginning in disguise. Here in our timeless oasis, perhaps endings and beginnings are one and the same, a continuous cycle of renewal and reflection. To those of you who've been with us since the clock struck midnight, and to those who joined us along the way, I hope Radio Insomnia has been a comforting companion in the small hours. Remember, in the vastness of the night, none of us are truly alone. As we prepare to sign off, I invite you to carry a piece of our eternal autumn with you. Let the rustle of phantom leaves and the whisper of timeless winds be a reminder that change and constancy can coexist, that memory and moment can intertwine. For our final moments together, let's listen to the sound of our desert town awakening to a dawn that never quite arrives. Close your eyes and imagine the cool touch of morning air, the first tentative chirps of desert birds, the soft sigh of sand shifting in the gentle breeze. From our little town where time stands still, this is Alex, signing off. May you find peace in the quiet moments and beauty in the spaces between sleep and wakefulness. Until next time, keep looking at the stars, and remember, in the vastness of the night, we're all connected. Radio Insomnia will return when the shadows grow long and the night whispers your name. Sleep well or stay awake well, wherever this broadcast finds you. You've been listening to Radio Insomnia, where autumn is eternal, and every moment is rich with possibility. Good night, or good morning, or perhaps simply good being.